would the members of Greg's men's group please come forward?
Hi, my name is Chuck Hughes. I met Greg about 4 years ago when I attended the Unity Temple men's retreat and became a member of his men's group, and we became friends. It wasn't for a few months that I realized that this was the guy who in 1987 came to the Oak Park Singles over in the 19th Century Club and spoke to us. He called himself Mr. Hugs back then, Dr. Hugs back then, and he talked about hugging and all that sort of thing. Greg had a way of making being friends with him easy. Something that I hope I will take away from him. When he used the word buddy, it didn't sound schmaltzy. It didn't sound at all odd. He also had, as many people have said, he had a way of connecting with strangers, often by saying things that were startling. I'll give you one example. This one I remember because I grew up in a rural farm community where there were Amish people around, and he was speaking to a farm group of, I don't know if it was last year or earlier this year, and he asked the guy who was running the show, "Is this a tough crowd?" And the guy said, No, these guys have got a good sense of humor. Well, except for those Amish people down there. They never even crack a smile. So he looked down there, he sees these Amish people, black clothes, beards, the whole 9 yards. And he walks down there and he says, can I sit down with you? And I'm your speaker. And they said, sure. And he says, I've heard that Amish people have no sense of humor. If I'd have said that, they'd have asked me to go to a different table, But Greg could do that. He just had a way of being that way with people, and he wanted to connect so badly, he took risks like that. And I hope that that's something that I will keep from our friendship. So, Greg, the next time I see a bunch of Amish people, I hope I'll walk up to them and say, "Hi, my name is Chuck. Do you guys all get your clothes at the same store?"
Hi, I'm Matthew Lewis. Greg was always looking for ways to connect with people. Whoops. That's Greg's spirit again. Greg was always looking for ways to connect with people that he just happened to bump into in stores, restaurants, airports, the post office, dry cleaners. And he had a talent for figuring out ways to connect with these strangers, not just superficially, but in ways that were very meaningful and authentic. I'll give you just one short example. One time I said to Greg, "How's your week going?" And he said, "Did you know that there's a place in the Elmhurst Ace Hardware where you can have coffee?" I said, "No, I didn't know that." And he said, "Yeah, there's a little coffee urn hidden away in the back of the store." And he added, "The other day I was in the Ace Hardware and I saw these old guys standing around the coffee urn. So I went up to them and I said, 'Hey, old-timers, how's it going? Can I join you for coffee?'" So we started talking. This is still Greg telling me the story. So we started talking, and I asked them what they did, and it turns out that one of the old guys was a high school band director before he retired. So I told him that I could relate to that because when I was in high school, I played the French horn, and I always had great times in the band. But it kind of bothered me that over the years, I never got a chance to thank my old high school band teacher for everything he did for me because we didn't keep in touch, and now my old teacher is dead. So I said to this old guy, "You know what? Do you mind if, instead of thanking my old high school band teacher, I thank you in his place for everything that you did for all your students over the years? Because I'm sure that you made a really big contribution to their lives, and that if they were here today, they would like to give you a big, big thank you. So I just want to say to you, thank you for everything you did for your students." Well, by now, Greg's eyes were kind of tearing up, and the old band teacher's eyes were tearing up, because he didn't know what had hit him just talking to this stranger in the hardware store. But if you take that episode and multiply it times 1,000, you have some idea of what Greg's life was like. To me, the lesson here is that we should all go that extra mile to look for ways to connect with people. What I'd like to say to Greg right now is, thank you, Greg, for everything you did for everybody, including me.
Hi, I'm Steve Kelley. Greg posted this impression by Paulo Coelho on his Facebook page on November 10th, which is one day before he died. The world is changed by your example, not your opinion. I believe that was the same post that had the Gandhi quote. This was a principle that Greg lived by during the last few years that I knew him. Greg was a warrior, like all of us men are, but he somehow found it in himself to set down his sword and shield and take off his armor. By removing his armor, he was brave enough to make both a physical and emotional connection with people that he knew only slightly, and people that he didn't know at all. Also, by removing his armor, he had the courage to render himself vulnerable, reveal his own emotional scars, and set himself up for possible rejection. And Greg was a sensitive human being. His own emotional state was often very close to the surface. These remarkable and lovely personality traits served as an example for his men's group, and we are individually considering ways that we might incorporate Greg's qualities into our daily lives. Kurt Vonnegut wrote, "Enjoy the little things in life because one day you'll look back and realize that they were the big things." Greg found joy in little things. A hug, a baby's laugh, a funny story, or a clever license plate that he would photograph and share with his friends. Such moments are fleeting. They reveal themselves, then they pass away, yet your memory returns to them again and again. So it was with great sadness that I heard that Greg was gone, like that monarch butterfly flitting across my summer garden that alights briefly on a flower petal only to float and aimlessly away. I regret that I will never again experience the essence of joy he freely shared with me and with others. But Greg, I will remember you.
Greg Risberg loved. When he cared about something or someone, like just seemed like an inappropriate term. His great love was Madeline, who he fondly referred to as my honey. He certainly loved humor. My favorite line of Greg's came one evening as our men's group was about to begin. If you could have dinner with any 5 people in the world, living or dead, real or fictional, what would you order? Great line. Now, he loved to laugh, and he especially loved to make other people laugh, but it was often a vehicle to make a deeper connection. And whether it was one-on-one or in front of hundreds of people, Greg's great gift was connecting. He connected his heart to our hearts. Even when it wasn't easy or comfortable, Greg wanted it to be honest and real. He loved words, and it was high honor on those occasions when one of us said something and he would pull out his little notepad and write it down. He loved his Swedish heritage, as I do. We both had fathers born in Sweden. Whenever we saw each other, he greeted me with, "Hey, pojk." Hi, boy. He loved Unity Temple Choir and the music they make. Now, I have an anecdote that combines several of Greg's loves. The thing is, I get the punchline in the story, which doesn't seem right, except Greg kind of put his own spin on it anyway. It was the morning the choir was to perform the sunrise mass. We were especially excited because the composer was Swedish. The choir performed movingly and beautifully. Afterward, we were congratulating ourselves as if we had anything to do with it. But in coffee hour, Greg came up to me and said, "Oh no, the composer is not Swedish. He's Norwegian." So I said, "It could have been better." Well, that really tickled Greg. Now there are half a dozen Unity members I met because Greg would repeat the story by way of introducing me to them. He was always going for the connection. Now, those of you who saw Greg deliver the message that Jim referred to here at Unity know he would go to any length for a laugh and to make a point, including wearing a bozo clown nose. Well, in final tribute, we love you, Greg.